I never believed in the supernatural. Ghosts, demons, and all the things that go bump in the night were just stories to me. That was until I encountered the Serbian Dancing Lady. It was a warm summer evening when the whispers of her existence first reached my ears. People spoke of a woman who danced under the moonlight, her movements hauntingly beautiful and strange. They claimed she was not in her right mind, controlled by something beyond our comprehension. Intrigued by the rumors, I decided to investigate further. I delved into online forums, seeking any information about this enigmatic figure. There were scattered accounts, grainy videos captured on cell phones, and eyewitness testimonies that painted a chilling portrait. The Serbian Dancing Lady appeared suddenly, dressed in what resembled a traditional costume. She emerged in front of unsuspecting pedestrians and motorists, her hips swaying to a rhythm only she could hear. But there was something more sinister beneath the surface. Witnesses claimed that as people implored her to move, she would produce a knife, her eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. Fear gripped those who encountered her, as they were uncertain if this was the act of a deranged individual or something far more malevolent. Armed with this knowledge, I set out on a moonlit night to witness the Serbian Dancing Lady for myself. I stationed myself on a secluded street, camera in hand, prepared to capture any evidence that would shed light on this mystery. The atmosphere was heavy with anticipation, and a sense of foreboding crept through my veins. Minutes turned into hours as I waited, my eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of movement. Just as I was beginning to lose hope, a figure materialized from the shadows. There she was, the Serbian Dancing Lady. Her silhouette was ethereal, her movements fluid and hypnotic. I felt a chill run down my spine as I focused my camera on her, determined to document this macabre phenomenon. As the lady danced, her gaze fixed on a spot just beyond my line of sight, I noticed something peculiar, a dark, amorphous shape lurking nearby. It seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, an entity distinct from the woman but undeniably connected. Could this be the demon that supposedly controlled her actions? Lost in my thoughts, I failed to notice that the Serbian Dancing Lady had ceased her dance. Her eyes bore into mine, piercing through the darkness. A shiver traveled down my spine, and I instinctively took a step back, my heart pounding in my chest. The air turned thick with tension, and an unnerving silence settled over us. In that moment, the lady lunged towards me, her knife glinting in the moonlight. Fear consumed me, and I stumbled backward, narrowly avoiding her blade. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I fumbled for my camera, desperate to capture this encounter. But as I glanced up, the Serbian Dancing Lady was gone, leaving only the echo of her eerie laughter lingering in the air. I never saw her again, but the memory of that night haunts me. It shattered my skepticism, forever reminding me that there are forces beyond our comprehension. The Serbian Dancing Lady, controlled by an unseen entity, had crossed the threshold between the mundane and the supernatural, forever changing my perception of the world around me. And though I now find myself trembling at the thought of encountering such horrors again, a part of me can't help but be drawn to the mysteries that lie in the shadows, waiting to be uncovered. The next day, a moonless night enveloped the city as my friend Marko and I walked home after a long day. I recounted the chilling tale of my encounter with the Serbian Dancing Lady, piquing Marko's curiosity. Intrigued by the supernatural, we decided to take a shortcut through a deserted street. As we walked, an eerie silence filled the air, broken only by the soft rustling of leaves beneath our feet. The deserted streets gave an unsettling feeling, but we pressed on. Suddenly, we heard a low growl coming from the shadows. We turned our heads and saw a group of stray dogs lurking, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. Out of kindness, I bent down to offer them a morsel from my dinner. As we continued, a chill ran down my spine. We looked ahead, and there she was, the Serbian Dancing Lady. Standing on the other side of the street, she was illuminated by the flickering light of a nearby lamp. Dressed in traditional Serbian clothing with a long flowing skirt that swayed with each step, her movements were unnatural, jerky, and exaggerated. Her face wore an expressionless mask, her vacant eyes staring into nothingness. Marko and I quickened our pace, wanting to put some distance between us and this strange figure. However, no matter how fast we ran, the dancing lady stayed right behind us. It became clear that she was not bound by normal rules of space and time. We tried to lose her, darting through alleys and narrow streets, but she seemed to anticipate our every move. Marko stumbled and fell, and as I turned to help him up, the dancing lady seized him. He screamed in horror, asking me to help him. In a moment of sheer terror, I screamed in anger, desperately trying to free Marko. But the dancing lady's strength was beyond comprehension. She smiled wickedly and released Marko, only to grab me. Her grip tightened around my arm, and I could feel her icy breath on the back of my neck. She whispered and said, "Hello again," in a sinister tone that sent shivers down my spine. In a desperate struggle, I fought against her grip, but it was futile. Suddenly, from the darkness, two faceless figures emerged, dressed in black. They were the minions of the Serbian Dancing Lady, assisting her in her malevolent actions. They seized me and started dragging me away, their grip unyielding. Marko's screams echoed in the distance, growing fainter until they vanished completely. Left alone with the dancing lady, her frenzied dance continued. Her every movement seemed supernaturally fluid, and a sense of impending doom washed over me. But just as she lunged forward, ready to strike, a distant police siren pierced the air. The sound sent the dancing lady into a fit of rage, but she released me. I stumbled back, my heart pounding. The police arrived, their presence driving the dancing lady away into the night. I sought refuge in my apartment, locking the door tightly behind me. As I caught my breath, I noticed her figure hovering in the distance, just beyond my balcony. Fear gripped me, but I couldn't tear my gaze away. It was as if her piercing eyes were drawing me in, holding me captive. Then, with a sudden burst of courage, I slid open the balcony door, inviting her inside. It was as if I had lost control of my own body. We began to dance, our eyes locked in an eerie connection. The Serbian Dancing Lady was unlike anything I had ever encountered. Her movements were haunting and unsettling, and her eyes seemed to peer into the depths of my soul. With her knife poised at my throat, she whispered in her unknown language, and I longed to scream and fight back, but I was powerless. Suddenly, a bright light burst through the darkness, bathing the room in its warm glow. The dancing lady recoiled, shielding her eyes from the brilliance. It was Marko, holding a crucifix and reciting a prayer. The Serbian dancing lady writhed in pain, her form dissipating into thin air. The room fell silent, save for the sound of our heavy breathing. We had survived the encounter with the Serbian dancing lady, but the experience had left us forever changed. We vowed to protect others from her malevolent influence, to seek answers and delve deeper into the mysteries that lay hidden in the darkness. As we moved forward, our paths intertwining, we embarked on a quest to understand the origins and purpose of the Serbian Dancing Lady. We studied ancient folklore, consulted with experts in the occult, and ventured into abandoned places rumored to be haunted. Our journey brought us closer to the truth, uncovering a dark and sinister secret. The Serbian Dancing Lady was not just a mere apparition, she was a vessel, a conduit for an ancient entity craving chaos and destruction. By dancing under the moonlight, she summoned its power, spreading fear and despair wherever she went. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Marko and I set out on a mission to break the cycle, to sever the connection between the dancing lady and the malevolent entity she served. With ancient rituals and the strength of our bond, we confronted her one last time. The battle was fierce, the dancing lady's movements more frenzied than ever. But we persevered, fighting with all our might. Marko, wielding a blessed relic, chanted powerful incantations that weakened the entity's grip on the dancing lady. As the first rays of dawn illuminated the horizon, the entity's influence began to wane. The Serbian dancing lady collapsed to the ground, her body limp and lifeless. A moment of silence engulfed the scene, and we knew that our mission was complete. We paid our respects to the fallen, acknowledging the tormented soul that had been trapped within the dancing lady's vessel. In that solemn moment, we hoped that she had found peace at last. And so, our story came to an end, but the echoes of our experiences continued to reverberate within us. The Serbian Dancing Lady had tested our limits, pushing us to confront the unknown. Though scarred, we emerged stronger, forever bound by the bonds forged in the crucible of fear. We pledged to remain vigilant, to protect others from the encroaching darkness, and to ensure that the Serbian Dancing Lady's malevolent dance would never haunt the streets again. Our journey may be over, but the path of the supernatural stretches endlessly before us, beckoning us to unravel its secrets and face whatever nightmares lie in wait.